This is what always happens when God is trying to do something in your life. The enemy will always present another enemy that is not the real enemy to keep you distracted from fighting the one that you're called to defeat. In David's case, it was his brother, his big brother. His name kind of sounds like Goliath, but it's not. Eliab. He was tall. For a minute, Samuel thought he was supposed to be the king because Saul was tall, and Samuel saw in Eliab what he had seen in Saul, which is height, not heart. And God said, don't look at his height, look at his heart. Stop judging your situation externally. It's what's inside that counts. It's what's inside that counts. And Eliab starts judging David's motives. He's like, look at this in verse 28. He goes, why have you come down here? And with whom did you leave those few sheep? Now, all of these things David had taken care of. He's a very responsible young man. But really what's happening here is I believe the enemy is trying to trigger David to get him to fight the wrong person. Because watch, if he stands here and argues with his brother, he will never even see his enemy. This might be the whole sermon for somebody. Now just look straight ahead if you're married. Sometimes you're fighting against what you're supposed to be fighting for. And you have to call a timeout sometimes. You have to sometimes be like, wait a minute, you're not my enemy. Wait a minute, you're not who I'm supposed to be fighting. And if David gets caught up fighting Eliab, he never sees Goliath. If he gets distracted, some of us are defeated simply because we're distracted. Now, you know how the story ends, but think about how it could have ended. David, for the next 2 hours, defends himself to Eliab. I was the other day checking on some Instagram posts, seeing if they were touching people's lives. You know, I would like to say that I always do it with a pure heart, but sometimes I'll scroll to look for people who say mean things to me. And that's a dysfunction. And I'm not saved all the way yet. I am saved. I was saved. I'm being saved. This is the part that's in progress. Because sometimes I just like to imagine the response I could send. You know what the Spirit of the Lord told me the other day? First of all, it's 1 out of 300 people who say something negative. That's number one. Number two, if you would invest a fraction of the energy into blessing people that you put into defending yourself, you would be Mother Teresa. You would be St. Paul. You could change the world if you would stop trying to defend yourself. And I'm coming right for you because some of us trip over an offense, and so we never defeat the real opponent because we stand and argue with Eliab and we never even get to Goliath.